Hi, welcome to Muscles for Menopause. I'm going to take you guys through about a 5-minute warm-up. It's going to be quite dynamic. We're also going to activate some of our main muscles and really work on improving our mobility so that our joints are ready to go when we do our workout. Okay? You're going to need a tubing for this one. Just for one exercise, but we're going to start by just getting that heart rate up and just starting to increase range of motion in our joints. So I like to start with knee hugs. So all I'm going to do is I'm pulling my knee up towards my chest, woo, losing balance a little bit. So as you can see, I'm kind of pulling my leg across my body towards the opposite shoulder, and that really gives me a good stretch in my glutes at the same time. So I'll do that a couple of times. Next up, I'm going to work on my hamstrings. So I like to just do kicks, and I'm just going to kick up all on one side. My hamstrings don't feel too tight right now. If I had done my hammies yesterday, I would not be kicking this high. I'll do about 8 to 10 repetitions on each leg, and then just switching over to the other side. I'm also, again, increasing range of motion in my hip joint. And as you can see, I'm already starting to breathe a little bit heavier. All right, next up, I'm going to go into some forward lunges. I like to bring my arms up in the air and take a big step forward because I get into my hip flexors that way. And I can feel a little bit of a stretch. But I'm also activating my quads this way. And then I'll finish off with a little side-to-side action, stretching the inner thigh and just rocking from side to side. And then maybe I'll hang out and just drop my hips a little bit lower and then head over to the other side. Now, continuing sort of just that muscle activation, I'm going to grab my tubing, activate my back. So I don't want this to be overly hard. I just want to remind my body that it's got to start working. So I'm holding the tubing nice and wide, about shoulder height, and I'm just going to pull the band apart. And as I do that, I'm really focusing on my shoulder blades. I'm pulling them towards each other and down my back. And I'm starting to feel that burning sensation in my upper back and a little bit in my shoulders and traps. And just pulling it apart a few more times. All right. Now I'm going to drop down onto the floor, get my glutes to activate because a lot of women seem to be quad dominant and we want those glutes to activate as well. So I'm going to lie down on the floor. I'm going to engage my abs, push my lower back slightly into the floor to engage my core. And I like to place my hand here because I want to maintain this position in my spine. And I'm immediately going to think about squeezing my glutes together as I come up and down. Squeeze the glutes all the way up and all the way down. And when I get to that top position, my glutes are definitely working hard. And I might do again about 10 reps. And it's just to remind the body that it's time to get to work. So I'll do a few more of these. And there we go. All right, now the last thing I like to do is just work on range of motion. I am really tight in my hips. So I'm going to start with windshields. So feet are about shoulder distance apart. And I'm just going to rock from one side to the next. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just starting to increase a little bit of range of motion in my hips so that I can get deeper in my lunges and my squats and when I'm ready to work out. We'll just do a couple more like this. All right, and then I'm going to come on to the side. This is one of my favorites. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to rock forward and get a nice stretch in my hip flexor on the left-hand side. And then take this leg all the way back and into a pigeon pose. Now I feel it in my glutes. So again, I rock forward and I come back. Ideally, you're doing this on a mat because you are going to feel it in your knee. Forward and back. I'll do it about 5-6 times. I'm going to speed it up though. I'm going to switch over to the other side. Forward, into the hip flexor, back into a pigeon. Forward and back. And then let's do it one more time. Forward and back. And then finally, just to increase range of motion in my shoulders, again, I'm going to use my tubing. And this time I'm going to lie down onto my stomach with my hands in a little bit of a Y shape, so they're quite wide. And I'm going to bring the tubing over my head and then back forward. Now, because I'm laying on my stomach, I can't go into an extension because my shoulder joints are tight. I have to increase range of motion in my shoulders. So this one feels really good. I'll do it a few more times. And last time. And relax. So that's a pretty standard warm-up for me. 5-7 minutes. I'm a little bit sweaty. My heart rate is going and I'm fully ready for my workout.